Alright, so we are respringing traps today. So what we have here is a coil spring trap. It's a 1.5 bridger, and in any coil spring traps, the springs are going to wear out over time. Extended use is going to wear them out. It takes a long time, but depends on the quality of the spring, how much they were used, and how much times they lapsed. But for the most part, you're gonna be several years before you have to replace your springs. But at some point, it's gonna happen. This is a unique situation because this trap actually was burned in a fire. A bunch of my traps burned when my shed burned down, and so the springs have no strength. So as you can see, he's loose here. You go to set it. There's nothing there. The springs are toast. So what I'm doing is actually replacing the springs that have no strength and using some used coil springs. And these are just going to be used for muskrats on floats, so they're not going to catch a fox or a coon or anything, because they don't have, the metal probably isn't strong enough on the traps for that. So basically what you're going to do is take the pin that holds the springs in place, and that pin goes all the way through the base plate and the levers on the trap. So you're just going to slide that pin out and then lift it up over top of the dog. Pop it up. Okay, so now our trap just lays flat, and there's our two springs. These ones are toast. Toss them out. Scrap metal. Now, notice we have everything's loose here. We lay our jaws down. We have the base plate with the two cross pieces, our levers, our jaws, our pan, our dog. And what the springs are going to do is they're going to rest underneath the base plate of the trap and against the back side of one side of each lever. So we're going to kind of set them in position where we want them to be, and we're going to try to keep them there as we reinsert the pin. And the pin's going to have to go through both the levers on the trap, and it can be a little bit tricky, so it's going to go through both levers on one side, and then it's going to go through the base plate. There is, you may not be able to see it, but there's a hole there, you'll notice, in the base plate that holds the levers in place. It goes through that, and then it goes through the other hole in each base plate. There we go. And sometimes the trap's a little rusty. It's not easy to do, but we got it through. There we go. Now that we get that pin most of the way through, we're going to push it up a little further, and you'll see you want to make sure you keep these ends of the springs underneath the base plate as you're sliding it forward, and then you're going to see a little indentation in that part of the base plate, and that's where that pin sets. So now that pin is in place, and each end of the spring is where it needs to be. Now basically all you got to do is put the spring in behind the lever. And so this can be a little bit tough because you're going to have a little bit of pressure to deal with, the strength, based on the strength of that spring. I use a big screwdriver on one hand and thumb fingers in the other hand. I just kind of set that around there, drop it into place. You're going to notice it may not set perfectly. All you can do, tap her a little bit, that's in place. And then we do the same thing on the other side. Screwdriver, and my thumb, get that over, have it pop in there, tap her a little bit. There we go. So everything looks good. Sometimes you might have to make a few little minor adjustments just based on where everything wants to set, fall into place. And we set our trap, make sure everything looks good. Okay, so that pin actually needs to go in a little further because it's hitting the jaw right now. Try that. And usually once you get this in place, it does not move. There. And we got essentially a new usable trap. And you've got plenty of spring strength.